What difference is more time going to make for Paramount at this point?
Well, they need a lot more than 7% of Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders to have tendered the vote. And that's all they've got since January the 21st, which is an extended deadline on already the 8th that we were working towards. And now they've given themselves even more time until April is basically when Netflix hopes that Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders would have approved their own offer. But everyone, including Bloomberg Intelligence, have written, unless Paramount come back with at least $32 as an entry point, maybe $34 to really get this across the line, the board's not going to take this seriously. At the moment, it's not any more appealing than a Netflix all-cash deal that's currently going on. And indeed, we know that David Ellison has gone for the jugular here, and it's getting very hostile in its nature. So he's got a lot of work to do. Many investors out there just not willing to tender their offer until they perhaps see more money.
So, and the Netflix is all cash plus the cable assets, whatever that brings in, right?
Maybe up to $6 in value is what the investment banks
so
think.
27 and 6, $33. Paramount has to beat that. And I think the idea is, you know, for a long time I thought, wow, Larry Ellison is so rich. Sometimes he's the second richest, sometimes he's the richest man in the world, depending on fluctuations of Tesla and Oracle stock. But they're just so stretched with the offer as it is what I'm understanding from Geetha Ranganathan at Bloomberg Intelligence. They're so leveraged with the deal as it is that they just can't really go any further. Is that the idea?
I think many are wondering why they can't just dip more into the purse strings of Daddy Ellison and use a little bit more of his now overall trust that is unrevocable rather than revocable. But I think there's also just the strength and the firepower of Netflix. You put that into direct competition, Netflix just got awash with cash. I mean, if they the fact that they upped it by that many billions and it's only putting them to 0.5x extra leverage, many just feeling that, of course, this is a company that just has to stop giving buybacks for a little bit.
But I was going to say, the irony of it feels like Netflix shareholders hate this. When they were talking on their earnings about spending more money, not just on their programming slate, but also this acquisition, the shares were sharply lower. So do the shareholders, I guess, see it differently? That sure, you're flush in cash, but we want to leave it that way?
And they want to understand really how this is going to dial up growth. Is really having this much more of a content slate, rather than going to Sony, but really owning and spending this much money, is that going to keep subscribers growing? Is that going to make us more engaged? Look, they had a phenomenal content slate just in the last quarter. And actually, we saw, what, a 2% increase in the amount that we were all that much more addicted and tiling into their content for the finale of Stranger Things and the next. So what really is that going to be accretive in terms of the overall business model? I think investors are just worrying that they're going to be pushed up in terms of their spending, and where is the bang for the buck more broadly? Are we seeing subscribers increase at any rate? When are we going to see the turning on of advertising a little bit more? But actually, if you look at analysts, yes, investors are sort of sending the shares lower, which I might say had been on a rapid run, and we do give off 30% since the announcement of the deal.
In Netflix shares.
In Netflix shares. But I think analysts are actually saying, look, the advertising part of the business model, phenomenal. Revenue growth, extreme. We're seeing fundamentals looking really solid. So actually, Warner Brothers Discovery is just a lock-in, but many still wonder about just how much of a monopoly it then becomes in streaming.
I mean, the hero here has to be David Zaslav. He has done for Warner Brothers shares so much.
And himself.
I'm sure, but he deserves it. I mean, the amount of value that he's giving back to shareholders is insane. The shares are doubled, tripled over the last 12 months.
People can suddenly see the value in their content and maybe the value in the cable. This is what it's all going to come down to. Do investors of Warner Brothers Discovery think there's value in the cable networks? Can CNN and the others be spun off and get you more than the $1 at the lower end, which investment bankers think, up to the $6, and therefore really push Paramount that much further in terms of how much they're going to have to put up and cough up for the business? All of us comes into the idea of a consolidation in media and people trying to understand what the business model of the future is. At the moment, the key winner is YouTube. How do any of these companies compete with them?